Seconds from you, overall this tax package, the impact on the economy?
Overall, we are seeing an increase in taxes in an economy that is already drained. We definitely want the government to look at how it is going to boost industries, see them moving towards education, but we need education to be supported by ways to filter people in for them to find jobs. The important thing here is the debt. And the debt that we're paying, we're borrowing more every time to service debt. And I cannot re-emphasize, the time is now, which is why we bring this Haughton solidarity. The original marijuana farmers, Ganja Jamaica farmers, the industry has been lagging behind for too long and too many people. So scarce commodity we have been established following scarce commodity JM. And overall, we have to take the marijuana industry serious. Washington has cleared their debt with it. Colorado cleared their debt. Iceland cleared their debt. Every year we have new taxes, more burden on the poor.
All right, we have to wrap there. And that's the reactions from economist Dr. Andre Haughton and trade unionist St. Patrice Ennis. Back to you, Doreen and Archie.
Thank you. I did not see that interview ending like that. In other news, the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, JCTU, is seeking to clear the air about ongoing public sector pension reform discussions between itself and the government. At a media briefing this morning, the Confederation stated that contrary to what is being reported, the holdup is not centered on the 5% contribution they are being required to make. TVJ's Herman Green has details.
JCTU President Helen Davis White made it clear from the start that the contribution was not the issue.
We have absolutely no disagreement with the introduction of a contributory pension scheme.
She says the union's aim is to ensure that the reform creates new benefits, not reduce them for its members. And so, there are several other factors that need to be settled. JCTU Vice President O'Neill Grant itemized that list. He says the government's proposal says the finance minister will have the last say on any actuarial surplus the fund may generate, but the union objects.
We do not want the surpluses of the civil servants or the public sector pension scheme to be used in the way that the Public Bodies Management and Accountability Act empowers the government to use surplus funds from other agencies. We want the fund to be a discrete fund only for the use of paying a pension to public sector workers or to support the payment of pensions to public sector workers.
He says the government has also objected to making any contribution as employer to a pension fund until the Auditor General confirms that such a contribution will not hinder other financial responsibilities. The JCTU insists that both employees and the government must make this payment to an established fund.
The reason is that we do not want our contributions towards our pension to go into the consolidated fund and to lose the robustness that a pension scheme should have in generating income outside of contributions into that scheme. As you know, the consolidated fund is at the discretion in terms of its use by the Minister of Finance, and we see a clear and present danger if the Minister of Finance has access to the contributions of the workers.
There are also outstanding differences on recognition of years of service for temporary workers. As he says, some have been in that classification for up to 30 years and would not stand to benefit. The vesting period, which is the stipulated number of years to qualify for pension, is also outstanding, as is the calculation to be used for the pension payments. The government is proposing an average of the last 3 to 5 years, while the union wants the salary of the last year of employment to be used. Herman Green, TVJ News.
And for the break, it's time for our feedback responses, and Archie is at the smart board. Archie?
One of those days. Thank you very much, Doreen. Here's a question today. We're talking, of course, about taxes. We're asking, what are your thoughts on the government's tax package? Terence Henry says, in all honesty, everyone goes crazy when they see or hear the word tax. I think this is a fair and reasonable tax package. It's definitely not the worst we've seen. No country runs without some form of taxation. Juliet Chin says, if the aim is prosperity and the way to get there is by applying taxes to the masses, who is the beneficiary? Just another way of politicians keeping the poor in their place, pauperized. Josh says this tax package is unclear and very confusing. There needs to be more in-depth information as to how the government will raise revenues for some of its projects. Not much clarity, he says. And Anil says deceptive, evil. You give it one hand and you take with two hands. Keep your comments coming on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/TelevisionJamaica and the tweets to @TelevisionJam. Business news and news from overseas after the break.